The Angelica Touch, Chapter 5 by Lindsay J. Sedgwick. The hotel is full for hours the next day. Breakfasts overflow into the bar and the film guys hang around making phone calls. The weather, unusually mild considering the number of branches that have come down on top of our newly serrated love seat, is due to turn nasty again. They want to move the whale ASAP, hangovers or no. Everyone seems sloppy and sort of loose-limbed. There are 3 new leaks in the kitchen, but nowhere near the electrics, which is good. Chris is fixing them now, but it's as if the whole hotel drank a little too much last night and hasn't recovered yet. I get roped in to help with the breakfast, and since our chef Eve zoomed off into the sunset last month with Sprite, the waiter we'd had for years. They sent a nice letter from somewhere nice apologising, but we still haven't found a chef to replace her, and Mum blames me. All I did was mention to Sprite that Eve was avoiding eye contact, not because she was disappointed with his work, but because she fancied him, like head over heels and belly up and trifle fancied. Mum should be glad I saved her 2 wages, since the hotel has not been busy since, at least not until last night. Besides, Chris is an excellent chef anyway. The minute it quietens, I make my favourite breakfast. Porridge with lumps of cooking chocolate melted in the heart, topped with cornflakes and cream mixed with milk. It's the best way to mark the start of a new year. I lift some veggie breakfast leftovers for Grace and head upstairs so we can picnic in private. I told her about Marcus and she elected to stay upstairs until it's certain he'd gone. She didn't fancy meeting Marcus and her mum together. So when I come out of the dining room to see them snorkeling the faces off each other in the lobby, it feels wrong. I wouldn't do that there. I point at the mistletoe over Kitty's head. Seriously, that's been there for years. Kitty smiles as if she thinks I'm jealous, which is yuck, and spurs me on. See the black bits? That's like a black mushroom mould, the sort bog bodies get between their toes and behind their eyes. I'm not sure if I should tell you this, or if it's really inappropriate, but kissing him under mistletoe like that, you've probably made him infertile. Mum comes out of the dining room. You shouldn't even know words like that, she says to my retreating back as I go up the stairs, but that's plain daft. I'm 14, Mum, not 12. When you're an only child, and especially the daughter of a single mum, you have no big sister to tell you things. You don't get to see your parents argue and make up, or talk about things they shouldn't. Besides, I read a lot, all the wrong books, but by the time Mum notices, or someone notices for her, it's too late. And what can I say except, I've read worse, Mum. Which is when she sort of shrugs and gives up trying to inflict moral guidance on my reading material. As for the mistletoe, teenagers can have fun too, despite the bad press. And the spots, and the mood swings, and the nothing fits me anymore, and the whole miserable shoulder droop life is boring routine, although mine don't droop very well. It's not a big thing, but it means I've learned to have fun with words instead. Insert on mullets. Marcus has a mullet. I know this because I asked Mum if Marcus's hair had caught some strange styling disease, and she told me. Apparently the mullet is a hairstyle from the 80s that has no reason to exist. Think baby but very hairy mammoth landing on the head from a great height, and you're close. If I cut my hair short, it would form itself into a mullet because it would be confused and lack the weight to keep it flat-ish. A mullet is also a smelly fish. While Grace showers, I watch Albert being lifted into a trailer pulled by a truck. His tail is festooned with an luminous pink scarf because it's sticking off the end. Story is the crew needed to get their boss Marcus a present for his 40th, so when the whale was finally built, someone got the bright idea, bright as in dim, that they'd treat Marcus to a helicopter ride and dangle the whale along, thus saving transportation costs. The idea was they'd lower Albert down before they undid the straps inside the helicopter. I'm guessing some of them weren't so securely tied. Chris wants to buy Albert back when the film's finished and keep him out front as a tourist attraction. Maybe turn the whale into a unit for honeymooners with imagination. Kitty kisses Marcus goodbye again, down beside the whale. I only realise Mum's behind me when she speaks. She's doing that deliberately. She doesn't even know you're there, Mum. Of course she does. I'm sorry, love, you shouldn't have to see this. There she goes, doing the moral protection thing again. You have to admire her for trying. And it is pretty gross. Forget kissing, this is oral dissection. Kitty is sucking out all Marcus's internal organs and enjoying the wolf whistles of the film crew far too much. I wonder what Grace would think of having Marcus for a dad. This is me trying to lighten the mood. I'd think yuck. Grace shields her eyes. Right enough in daylight, my hair is unnaturally bright. My mum has rotten taste, and did you see his hair? Besides, I already have a dad. Grace wants to be a unisex hairdresser. Maybe it's a previous life thing or a way to meet cute men when they're feeling vulnerable. Hi, Miss Moon. Mum squeezes her shoulder and relaxes. Grace is far better with Mum than I am. She knows what to say. Like now, Mum feels sorry for Grace instead of angry at Kitty, and she knows she was totally right to say no to random frolicking last night. Right then, when nobody's looking but me, the whale flicks his tail, knocking Marcus and his mullet into the ornamental pond, and winks at me. The pink scarf ends up tied in a big bow on top of Marcus's head, turning his mullet into a glee pony's tail. Then I blink and the whale is in the truck heading down the driveway. I'm certain Marcus is entirely dry, but it's a shame. Before I can sneak out with Grace, Mum nabs me to turn over some of the room so she can make a start on the laundry. She wants the bulk of it done before she goes to join Kitty for their annual New Year's Day lunch. Grace says she did enough chambermaiding last night, so we agreed to meet at the Dolmen in an hour. The Dolmen sits on a sort of rise surrounded by a circle of stones, only one of which stands upright. This is the Stone Man. He faces the Dolmen head on. Legend has it that he is the ultimate lover turned to stone from grief. This is where we go to talk about stuff we don't want anyone to hear. There's something about the ancient history of that place that feels comforting. Nothing can be as bad as being cremated under a rock thousands of years ago, or turned to stone. Grace is sat on one of the flatter stones. It's -1 degree, and my toes think they're being eaten by an aggressive budgie, even if I know it's only pins and needles. What's wrong with you? Grace doesn't feel the cold. That's okay, though. I feel enough cold for both. Here, she holds out her mother's business phone, but I'm not too sure I want to know what's on the other end. My fingers are too frozen to hold a phone. It's just stupid, she says. Nothing bad or sick. Promise. It'll keep one of your ears warm. I take the phone and listen. On the other end, a man is singing Goosey Goosey Gander. At least, I presume it's a man. I told him to sing every nursery rhyme he knew in a high-pitched voice. Grace looks at her watch. 20 minutes ago. We get bored more quickly than he does. At Ba Black Sheep, Grace hangs up and stuffs it in her pocket. New plan. Let's go flirt. To be continued.